Welcome everybody, this is Cliff again. I wanted to share with you another game system that's been hitting my table for the last couple of months. It's called Assault, from Assault Games, out of Germany, from Wolfgang Klein. The first game in this series was Assault Red Horizon 41. This particular map you're looking at is from an upcoming module, Assault Sicily 43. Both systems, both games play the same. They both have interesting campaigns, which is why I'm kind of hooked. I love campaigns. They're adaptive campaigns where how you do in one scenario is going to determine which scenario you follow up with. And you follow through historic battles. In the case of 41 with Operation Barbarossa, with Sicily, obviously the invasion of the island in World War II. I play a lot of tactical, small-scale games. These are all squad scale. This is in the same line as games like Squad Leader or Advanced Squad Leader or Combat Commander or Fighting Formations or Conflict of Heroes, Old School Tactical, Panzer, Lock and Load Tactical, Last 100 Yards. I play all of these games. But I kind of like this one a little bit more. I like them all, honestly, but I like this one for a couple of reasons. One is there are no half hexes. These boards are cut out of really heavy cardboard, and they fit just the way they look. With full hexes, they interlock in a variety of ways. So they're like the old Panzerblitz boards in that you can rearrange them, but they're better than Panzerblitz because there aren't half hexes. I like the art. The new art that they're coming out with is even better than this, believe it or not. So they're beautiful. The counters are nice and clean because all of the information for the units is kept on cards at the side of the table in your hand. This is a modular game, so you can play it very simply, as I'm going to do on this particular playthrough. I'm not going to use a lot of the bells and whistles here, just to introduce the game. You can strip this down to its bare bones like this and teach this game to a 10-year-old, honestly. Or you can add in all sorts of detail with command points and command cards and offboard artillery and tactical airstrikes and all the crunchiness that you want. You got Tigers, you got early war tanks, you got all sorts of different kinds of infantry. The whole narrative is there to play out. If you want to add all the detail, you can choose how much you want to put in. And the system is really built to be like a random scenario generator by default. It's not like you have to get one. It comes as one because there are what are called formation cards that we're not actually playing with in this one, but I'll show you. Like a formation card like US, let's say, infantry. If I pull this card tells you that these guys get 3 ranger units, 3 squads of rangers, a bazooka team, a sniper team, and a 60mm mortar team. These are automatically balanced. And another thing is they have different morale states. So here it would be an elite team. I'm not using morale in this playthrough. I will when I get up to playing the campaigns. That 5X with a little red circle there, those are command points, which I'm not playing with this time, but I will be in the future, which means you can order 5 of those 6 units, or any 5 of your 6 units on the board. Not everybody can be commanded, so there's limited command. So I like that a lot. And I'm just going to dispose of this guy. I think it's X. What is it? I don't have a command to get rid of them. I'm going to just take it up here then. Want it off my board. There. I'm playing with Vassal again here. The other thing is they already have Vassal modules, and they also have tabletop simulator modules out. So you can play this electronically. But honestly, of all my games, this is the one I would get out on the board. Cardboard counters, hex tables the most, because this thing is just beautiful, luxurious. But it's easier for me to record on my computer, so you'll have to deal with that. In this scenario, an introductory scenario, it's called Bunker Hill, sort of like a throwback to the Revolutionary War or maybe Korea, where we have a hill that the Italians are holding that has 4 bunkers on it. That's what these things are. They have facing. And there's a radio station up here that the Americans are tasked with taking, and there's only 6 turns. We could use those formation cards like I showed you, or each card here has a value. These have point values, sort of like Warfighter does, or up front, where cards have values. You can get a value for a scenario and just say, hey, you've got this many points, buy what you want. There's a lot of ways you can play this game. So in this particular scenario, the Italians get 24 points and the Americans get 30. And I decided to spend the Italian points getting 3 rifle teams. That's 12. A medium machine gun. That's 17 now. And a light machine gun squad, which makes 22 of our 24 points. That's the best I could spend. The Americans get 30. So I decided, since we're busting bunkers, we would get some bunker busters. So I got some combat engineers here. I took 3 of those for 18. I took a bazooka team to help them out. That's 21. A sniper team. That's 25. And an 81 millimeter mortar, because I might want to smoke our approach or lob some shells on top of targets of opportunity. That's 30. These cards, you can see the little hearts. Those are health points. Some of these are 4 value cards, like the combat engineers. So after 2 hits, they get flipped to reduced strength. Here, a bazooka team's only got 2 health points, so 1 hit flips you to half strength. 2 hits, you're dead. So basically, we got 3 times 4, and then we got 2s and 2s and 2s. When it comes to health points, it's a wash. We're the same. So this is a tough scenario for the Americans. You got limited time, 6 turns. You were attacking at even odds, same number of steps. Even though we started with 30 points and they only got 24 points, the number of steps we have is exactly the same. The Italians have high ground. The Italians are in bunkers, and all they have to do is lay back and defend. So it's going to be a tough row for the Americans to hoe. The other thing I like about this system is the way the combat is done. It's done using combat dice. Let's see if I can get them out of the pieces here to look at. If I go to, that's terrain, units, cards, status markers. Let's make this a little bigger. Markers. Here's dice. There are 4 different battle dice. Red is the strongest. Yellow is the next strongest. Green is the next strongest. And blue is the weakest. And they have different sides. If I roll that, I'll re-roll some of these. Let's roll this one again. Okay, I'll just pick one of them. Take this one. Roll that one. There. 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 Okay. This is a suppress result. This is 1 hit. This is 2 hits. This is a hit and a critical hit. The attacker will roll certain numbers of dice that are defined by their characters and their weapon systems and the range and a lot of other factors. And the defender will roll dice depending upon their defensive ability, their terrain, and a lot of other factors. There are also cards that could be used in play to modify things, and we're not playing with the card deck this time either. Like I said, we're stripping it down. If it's blank, then it's a miss. That's a miss. When you compare the attacker to the defender, a hit cancels a suppress or a hit. A crit will cancel a hit or a suppress. And a crit can also cancel a crit. So crits are the worst, then hits are next, then suppresses are next. So the attacker will roll some dice, the defender rolls dice, you just cancel out attacker dice, whatever remains is applied to the defender. There aren't complicated CRTs to look things up on. You don't have to figure out math in your head. All the statistics are baked into these dice. If something becomes easier to do, you get more dice or more deadly dice. If something is more difficult, the defender gets more dice or more deadly dice. And it's very balanced, it's just slick. I like this combat system a lot. So, without further ado, I'm going to get set up and try to play this particular scenario just to show you how it plays out and to try to stumble through and find my weaknesses because I'm still learning the system. And I will get started after a little break. Alright, so I've decided just to finish setting up on this video, explaining gameplay a little bit, and I'll pick up with turn 1, 2, and 3 on the next video, and then 4, 5, and 6 with another video to keep these of a reasonable size. So, this scenario, let me pull up a card here. We have our setup. The Americans can set up in the green hexes, and the Italians will set up in the blue. And I will set those up in a moment. By rule, the Americans get the initiative on turn 1. And for reinforcements, if the Americans take a bunker, then they get a reinforcement that's going to come in at the top or the bottom. For turn 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to bring them in at the bottom on the southern edge. And 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to bring them in on the northern edge. And we push the time back 1. So we lengthen the overall scenario by a turn. So taking bunkers buys us time. The victory is whoever controls that radio here at the end. So you need to buy time, get that radio. The Italians can roll for reinforcements as indicated on the card, and that roll will be modified by the number of bunkers they hold at the time. Overall, when we're playing this game, there are 5 phases to a turn. The first phase is the initiative phase, where we determine who has initiative for that game turn. In turn 1, it's defined by this scenario as being the Americans, but normally you roll d6 and compare. Winner has initiative. If there's a tie, you re-roll. In the second phase, it's called the planning phase. We're not really going to be doing planning phase. That's when you would draw cards for your hand. We're not using cards. It's when you would place command points. We're not using command points. It's when you would call in off-board artillery strikes, and it's when you would try to call in tactical airstrikes. We're not doing any of those things. The third is called the support phase. In the support phase, units that have an S on their card can take action, which is things like off-board artillery, tactical airstrikes, but also you'll notice that there's an S on this 81mm mortar. Here, we get it up there. See that S there in the hexagon? That means in the support phase, he can fire smoke or lay down a barrage. And also, our combat engineers have an S. They have a special function on their backside. Here, get bigger. Come on. There. That during support phase, they can place an explosive charge if they want to, if they're adjacent to like a bunker. So we might try to do that. So we got a couple of S. We got our mortar and we got our combat engineers. So we got something to do in the support phase, but the Italians do not. They have no support cards. Then there's the action phase. That's where everything is done. We activate one unit and it carries out its actions, and then the opponent gets to activate one card and carry out its actions. We can do opportunity fire if we have LOS, and we do that back and forth. You can also pass. If there are 3 passes in a row between the 2 people, then the turn is over. The last phase is organization phase, and you'll see that these actions that we do are color coded, and in the organization phase the colors get flipped, as I'll show you. It's a really nifty system where everything's color coded and you just proceed flipping colors, so it's easy to keep track of where you are, and that's where smoke is decreased too. A lot of that's done automatically through this organization phase button in this module on Vassal, because Joel Toppin made a really cool module. Joel makes good stuff. He and Greg Amos are my favorite module designers, so I'm excited. Alright, so those are the 5 phases we need to set up. I already told you where our setup hexes are, showed you. So for our purposes, we're going to set them up simultaneously because it does not matter in the scheme of things. I'm going to put the Italians first. I'm going to put one infantry guy out here in this bunker. He's going to be our forward observation post and is considered dispensable. We're going to put one here in this bunker, and then I'm going to put one in this heavy woods. He's keeping an eye. He's going to reinforce as needed around these bunkers. This is expendable. He's just there to delay. Light machine guns going up here. Medium machine guns going down here. For the Americans, I'm going to mostly be up here in the north. So we got these 3 hexes we can set up in. So I'm going to put my bazooka team here. I'm going to put my mortar team down here. I'm going to put a rifle team up here, and then I'm going to put my snipers here and another rifle team here, and I'm going to put a rifle team here, and I'm going to take off all those moves. So where's my moves? There they are. Take off moves. There's my setup. We're ready for turn 1. The Americans have the initiative, so we don't have to do initiative phase. We're skipping the planning phase. We go straight into support. So when we begin, we will be able to begin with our mortar. Bazookas have no support phase because they're not adjacent. So we'll fire our mortar, and my plan is to fire smoke up here to obscure field of view down to our vulnerable guys in the open. So we'll pop smoke, and then we'll begin moving, and we'll see what we can do. And we also have the initiative, so when we move into action phase, our guys are first. So, yeah, that is that. This should be fun. 2 more videos to play this through, and I'll do this while I'm also doing sniper kill confirmed. And I'm probably going to start one more game too and just popcorn around and have fun. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about this, and I will see you guys next time.